Good day, ma'am. This will be my presentation in Itec. So, let's talk about cellular basis of life, which is what we call cell. Now, what is cell? Cell, it is the basic unit of life, the smallest structural and functional unit of an organism, typically microscopic and consisting of cytoplasm and a nucleus enclosed in a membrane. They provide structure for the body, take in nutrients from food, convert those nutrients into energy, and carry out specialized functions. It is the building blocks of all living things. Now, who discovered the cell? A scientist named Robert Hooke was the first person to use the term cells to refer to the tiny structures found in organisms. Around 1665, Hooke observed a piece of cork with the use of a microscope which he himself made. There observed box-like compartments in the door. Hooke thought they looked like the small rooms or cells of old monasteries. He called these room-like structures in cork cells. But what Hooke really saw were the outer boundaries of the cells, and they looked like empty boxes because the cells of that plant were dead. Now this is the picture of Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke is an English physicist that were born on July 18, 1635 in London and died on March 3, 1703. There are two types of cell. The first one is the eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotes, any organisms whose cells contain a nucleus where DNA and RNA are stored, and other membrane-bound organelles. There is a wide range of eukaryotic organisms, including all animals, plants, fungi, and protists, as well as most algae. Eukaryotes may be either single-celled or multicellular. Now this is the picture of a eukaryotic cell. As you can see, there is a nucleus inside of the cell. The second one type of the cell is the prokaryotic. Prokaryotes are single-celled organisms belonging to the domains bacteria and archaea. Prokaryotic cells are much smaller than eukaryotic cells, have no nucleus, and lack organelles. All prokaryotic cells are encased by a cell wall. Many have also a capsule or slime layer made of polysaccharide. As you can see in the picture, there is no nucleus, and that is their difference. Eukaryotic cells have nucleus, while prokaryotic doesn't have. Now, what are the parts of prokaryotic cell? The first part is the capsule. Many prokaryotes have a sticky outermost layer called the capsule, which is usually made of polysaccharide sugar polymers. The capsule helps prokaryotes cling to each other and to various surfaces in their environment, and also helps prevent the cell from drying out. The second one is pili. Pili are short, hair-like structures on the cell surface of prokaryotic cells. They can have a role in movement but are far more often involved in adherence to the surface, which facilitates infection and is a key of virulence characteristic. The third one is cell wall. All prokaryotic cells have a stiff cell wall located underneath the capsule, if there is one. This structure maintains the cell shape, protects the cell interior, and prevents the cell from bursting when it takes up water. The fourth one is the plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is a lipid bilayer that surrounds the cytoplasm of prokaryotic cell. It physically separates the cytoplasm from the outside environment. The plasma membrane also works as a selectively permeable or semi-permeable barrier that controls what enters and exits a cell. Next one is ribosome. Ribosomes are tiny spherical organelles that make proteins by joining amino acids together. The purpose of the ribosome is to translate messenger RNA or mRNA to proteins with the aid of the RNA or the transfer RNA. Mesosomes. Mesosomes are a type of enfolding of the cell membrane that are commonly found in prokaryotic cells. They are believed to be involved in different functions such as cell division, DNA replication, and oxidative phosphorylation. The next part is the plasmid. In addition to the chromosome, many prokaryotes have plasmids. They are small rings of double-stranded extrachromosomal outside the chromosome. DNA. Plasmids carry a small number of non-essential genes and are occupied independently of the chromosomes inside the cell. The next one is the nucleus. Prokaryotes generally have a singular chromosome that occupies a region of the cytoplasm called a nucleus. Next one is the fimbria. Fimbria, the plural of it is fimbriae. It's a type of appendage of prokaryotic cells. These hair-like protrusions allow prokaryotes to stick to surface in their environment and to attach to each other. The next one is the flagella. Flagella are primarily used for cell movement. The prokaryotic flagellum spins created forward movement by a corkscrew-shaped filament. A prokaryote can have one or several flagella, localized to one pole or spread out around the cell. Now, that is the part of the prokaryotic cell. Now, let's talk about the parts of eukaryotic cell that you can see in plants and human cells. This is the picture of the parts of eukaryotic cell. There is cell membrane, Golgi complex, membrane receptor, mitochondria, nucleus, and nucleolus. The first one will be cell membrane. The cell membrane, it surrounds the cell and controls the substance that go into and out of the cell. It acts like a traffic policeman that regulates entry and exit of substances, that is ions and solutes. This helps in regulating the internal cell balance. The next one will be nucleus. Nucleus is a structure inside a cell that contains the nucleolus and most of the cell's DNA. It is also where most RNA is made. Next one is membrane receptor. These receptors mediate signal transduction for cellular responses to extracellular stimuli. Membrane receptors are usually transmembrane proteins. The next part is cytoplasm. These are the fluid inside the cell. It contains other tiny cell parts that have specific functions, including the Golgi complex, the mitochondria, and the endoplasmic reticulum. The cytoplasm is where most chemical reactions take place and where most proteins are made. Golgi complex prepares proteins and lipid fat molecules for use in other places inside and outside the cell. The Golgi complex is a cell organelle, also called Golgi apparatus and Golgi body. The next part is nucleolus. Nucleolus is an area inside the nucleus of a cell that's made up of RNA and proteins, and it is where ribosomes are made. Ribosomes help link amino acids together to form proteins. The next part is mitochondria. Mitochondria are membrane-bound cell organelles, mitochondrion if singular, that generated most of the chemical energy needed to power the cell's biochemical reactions. The next one is endoplasmic reticulum, a large dynamic structure that serves many roles in the cell, including calcium storage, protein synthesis, and lipid metabolism. The diverse functions of the ER, or endoplasmic reticulum, are performed by distinct domains, consisting of tubules, sheets, and the nuclear envelope. Now, those are the parts of the prokaryotics and the eukaryotic cells. Now, let's talk about the functions and importance of cell, since they are the basic unit of life. The first one is structure and support. Yes, since all organisms are made up of cells, cells provide structures and function for all living things, from microorganisms to humans. Cells house the biological machinery that makes the proteins, chemicals, and signals responsible for everything that happens inside our body. The next one is reproduction. A cell helps in reproduction by the process of mitosis in more evolved organisms and meiosis. Growth. Cells are responsible for the growth of the organisms. The entire thing takes place via a process of mitosis. The next function is energy production. Organisms need energy to perform different chemical reactions. In plants, the energy comes from the process of photosynthesis in the chloroplast, while in the animals, the energy comes via respiration in the mitochondria. Metabolism. Cell is responsible for the metabolism that includes all the chemical reactions that take place inside an organism to keep it alive. The next important and function is transport. Cells import the nutrients that are used in the different chemical process which take place inside them. As a result of these processes, a waste product is produced. Cells then work to get rid of this waste. In this manner, the small molecules such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, and ethanol pass through the cell membrane by diffusion. This method is known as passive transport. On the other hand, the larger molecules like the proteins and polysaccharides go in and out of the cell via active transport. And that is all. That is all about the cellular basis of life. Thank you and God bless.